The next weapon that we're going to be covering for today's guide is going to be the zhukovs. The zhukovs are currently the only other secondary option besides your starting option, although there is a third one that will be coming in a few days with the next season. However, as of right now, this is your only other secondary option. The zhukov is unlocked, the weapon assignment for it is unlocked when you get your scout up to level 15. The zhukovs are a pair of submachine guns, one held in each hand. They are designed to be high rate of fire, high ammo capacity damage weapons, where they just dump ammo out. They have a combined rate of fire of 30 shots per second. Each of the guns has a magazine capacity of 25 by default, which gives you 50 ammo in total. They have a pretty decent spread on them. The reload is 1.8 seconds. That is the total for both guns, not per gun. So it's not 3.6, it's 1.8. They deal 12 shots per bullet, and they deal 15% weak point damage by default. In terms of shared modifiers, you do have two shared options that are luckily in different categories. You have a bonus damage option that both grant you +1 damage per bullet. You also have a bonus ammo option that both grant you +100, and they are in separate trees. It is actually possible to have a few different builds with this. This, in my opinion, is one of the best secondary weapons in the game. If you have a careful enough trigger finger, you can use this at medium to long range, but you're primarily going to be using this at close to mid range. So we're going to start off with the number 5 modifier first. This is the tier 5 modifiers. These are your mini overclock tier. You have conductive bullets and get in, get out. Now, I'm not a movement speed guy. I like to run around and shoot shit, so I don't really do this. What get in, get out does is it gives you a 10% movement speed after you empty the clip. Now, it's important to understand what that means. You get 10% bonus movement speed after you have fully depleted the gun of ammo. That will last for 1 second. Now, this doesn't work by just manually reloading. Doesn't work like that. You have to empty the gun all the way. I don't always do that. I don't like running that. Conductive bullets. Now, conductive bullets is interesting. So this gives you more damage to targets that are in the electric field. So you deal 30% more damage. This is with the zhukovs, by the way, to any targets that are in an electrical field. Now you would think that, well, that means then that I need to use, the IFG or the stasis grenade, because this, while it doesn't deal electric damage, does create an electric field. And you would be right. You could use it with that. However, the plasma carbine also has an electric modifier, and the scout has some engineer, has some electric modifiers as well. This is primarily what I run for it. Even though I run the cryo grenade as my exclusive grenade, and I shouldn't be running that, I run it. I get no value out of this versus potentially some value out of this. Now we're going to skip ahead to your options here. Now, interestingly enough, tier 2 is the easiest tier. You want the high capacity magazine. This gives you 5 extra bullets per gun, so you have a total ammo capacity of 60. This is the one I like to run. I don't increase the rate of fire. These guns have an insanely fast rate of fire. You do not need bonus rate of fire. Don't run this. It's stupid. Reload speed can be kind of nice, but I think the reload's pretty good. It's on par with that of the Magnum or the Burst Fire. If you absolutely want to switch in, empty all your ammo, reload real quick, and then just keep going, you can run this. Personally, I prefer the extra ammo. Those few extra shots, if you miss with the spread, are pretty good for killing your target, a target or two, without having to reload. At tier 3, you have the choice between bonus damage or base accuracy. Now, I personally prefer the base accuracy. This reduces the spread of the weapon by 60%. This makes it a long-range assault rifle type weapon without having to sacrifice that much. If you want a max damage build, by the way, you're only getting 2 damage a shot. I don't really recommend that. Especially not 1 damage versus that. That modifier is so good. Speaking of the modifier, there's no recoil modifier. You do need to learn how to actually control the recoil on this gun. For your ammo modifiers, well, you have some options. It really depends on what you want to run here. The weak point build gives you an extra 30% weak point damage. This gives you approximately 5 damage, extra damage on a weak point hit per bullet. Not really a fan of that, mostly because you're not going to be using this as an actual, like, sniper type weapon. It's more going to be a bullet dump weapon. The other option you have available is the blow-through rounds. This does give you penetration and makes it a very good crowd-killing option. So if you're pairing this with something that doesn't deal with crowds that often, this is pretty good. And I really don't think that 1 extra damage is enough, so I generally take the first tier of extra ammo here. If you want to run max ammo, you can get 850 max ammo, which is really good. I personally just prefer the penetrations. You will burn through ammo a lot with this gun. Remember that you have like 10 reloads and change, like 11 or 12 with just 1 extended ammo bag. With no extended ammo bags, you have 10 and change. So this is primarily what I run. The Zhukovs pair very well with any 3. In my opinion, it is the best close range or high ammo option to go with the scout rifle. This is primarily what I run it with. If you're going to run it with the deep core, you're going to use it as a high ammo dump weapon for close to mid-range, and you want to build your deep core around longer range combat. If you run it with the plasma carbine, it should be set up as a close range ammo dump. Pretty much if you don't want to run the shotgun, you're going to run the Zhukovs. And the fact that it pairs well with pretty much any of those options is really good. It is, in my opinion, the best overall option that you can run for a secondary weapon, and once you have access to it, you're pretty much going to replace the boomstick unless you specifically want big gun go boom type build. They are pretty reliable. I would say that they take a little bit of getting used to, though, in order to control the recoil on it. And, as well, they don't have a lot of diversity. The Tier 5 upgrades are pretty bad if you don't have the stasis grenades, or if you don't run and gun with these. And for the rest of these options are pretty good as well. You can make some builds. I would prefer if one of these damage options, though, granted a more significant amount of damage. Even if it was only like 2 or 3 damage per bullet instead. That in my opinion, would make it a little bit better. I feel like running both of these modifiers, giving you an extra 2 damage a bullet, is not worth it at all. And because I'm not going to run a modifier for an extra 1 damage, I'm kind of shoehorned into taking those, which makes your Tier 2 and Tier 4 mods the most impactful. Penetrations versus more ammo, or higher capacity versus faster reload. I think once you set up a build for these, unless you have an overclock that like outrageously changes how the gun plays, you're pretty much going to stick with this for the duration of the gun. So, other than that, they're